Okay folks, welcome back. This is your old pal Honda doing another video on Zebco reels. I'm not really a Zebco historian nor am I I'm just a Zebco enthusiast. I've used them for years and I like them. I've used them. They've served me over the years reliably since I was a kid in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s, and still to this day. On the table we have an early example of the newest Zebco 202 and the Zebco 33. The Zebco 33 also comes in a long line of reels of this type of this year. This is the only example I got because I basically retired this reel. I have a newer Zebco 33, but in this line of Zebco 33, they made the 733, the Micro 11, the Zebco Platinum. You know, they made various different versions of this reel, of this type, of this year, and make and model of the 33. This is the just the original humble 33 with one ball bearing, 3:6:1 gear ratio, drag, 2 pickup pin, steel, aluminum covers, and aluminum bail, and brass spool and helix gear system. Right here we have an example of a 202. This is the most newer and up-to-date example of the 202 slingshot. But both these reels have been made for decades. I mean, they've been made since the 1960s and up into the 1940s. The 33 was the original Zebco reel made. It was his flagship in the 1940s, late 40s into the 50s, and still to this day, they still make this one. What this video is we're going to compare these two reels together. This is the 202 versus the Zebco 33. I'll tell you what I like about one reel, and I'll tell you what I don't like about the other reel. The Zebco 202 is a 2:8:1 gear ratio, holds a little bit more yardage of 10-pound test than the 33 does. That right there in itself is a good selling point for the 202. It can hold up to 110 yards of 10-pound test, where the Zebco 33 can only hold 99 yards of 10-pound test. And both of them come pre-spooled with Cajun line, which is a Zebco line. It's nothing to do with being from Louisiana. It's just a cheaper version of Zebco line. I mean, they do make some fishing line monofilament, which is Zebco monofilament. Now, this one here has a helix gear system with a 1 ball bearing, and it was 3:6:1 gear ratio, which is a little bit more than this one. This reel here, reel's really smooth, a lot smoother. Still it's still kind of crunchy though, compared to a more expensive spinning reel or bait caster. I mean, these type of fishing reels are for novice fishermen or just somebody who's a Zebco enthusiast that likes to use easy type of reels to use. You know, they have 0 line twist. That means they never backlash. I mean, the only problem I've ever had with a Zebco of any kind is sometimes when you're reeling the line in or casting it out, you know, sometimes the line will get stuck underneath the bail, like right under here, and then you'll have to take the bail off to untangle the line underneath it. But I rarely have that issue because a lot of people, they'll over-spool these reels with too much line, and that becomes a problem down the road. The thing I like about the Zebco 202 slingshot is that it's really easy to use. It's really easy to maintenance, to take it apart, to get to the inner gears. They're really both easy to maintenance. Maintaining them, to clean them, you will have to clean them both after a year's worth of use before you store them. That means oil, grease, and whatnot. The drag system though on the 33 is a lot better than the 202. The drag system on the 202 is really loose, and sometimes when you're fishing with it and you're trying to hold it in your hands, it'll knock the drag really loose, which can miss you a lot of fish. Where the drag system on the 33 is really positive and hard to push, which makes it really more controllable while you're holding it in your hand, and it doesn't knock you off your drag setting. the Zebco 33 gets good marks for that. Casting capability. Both of these reels cast very similar. They cast about the same distance. Smooth casting, but with reel retrieval, the 33 is a lot faster on reeling your line in. Not by much, but by some aspects, which makes this one a lot better to use with smaller lures, like inline spinners and topwater baits. This one not so much. I kind of find using this one for small jigs and bobbers much better suited for this reel. This reel here is a little bit more of a step up from this one, and you could do a lot more with this reel. Plus that it has a bait runner or bait alert, which if you're using live bait, that helps the line go out when you're fishing with live baits to give fish time to swallow the bait before you set the hook. You can't quite do that with this one. You'd have to hit the button to let the line go out before you could click it over and set the hook on a fish. Also, the 33 has better quality parts on them. It has a steel aluminum frame and a graphite frame on the center here, which makes it more durable, I think, than maybe the 202. The 202 has a gear-on-gear system. It's not a helix gear system, so it's really crunchy, especially when they get really dirty. They start grinding and crunching more than the 33. The 33 is more of a fantastic reel. It just works way better than the 202. But I'm not taking anything away from the 202. The 202 is a good beginner's reel that you could graduate to the 33. Maintenance on both reels are very simple. On older reels, they were even more simple. But these newer reels on the 202s are harder to maintenance because you got to jimmy the innards out of the reel, and it makes it a lot harder to service the reel. But it's not that hard compared to maybe a spinning reel or a bait caster. This one is very simple to do. All you have to do is twist off the back to maintenance the reel. And the gears, like I said, these are helix gear systems. They're side to side. They have bushings on the side, and the center gear is where the ball bearing is on this reel, which makes it a lot smoother and more of a pleasurable experience to use the 33 over the 202. But if I would suggest you to get a 33, get a Platinum. The Platinum's a lot smoother, faster gear ratio than this one is. But like I said, for a beginner reel, these are both great for that. This is less advanced, this is more advanced, but the 33 is way better on specs and performance than the 202 is. But I'm not taking anything away from the 202. They've been made really well. That's why they're still being made this day. Now, the only competitor I've seen for the 202 on the market right now is the one of those little some South Bend models and some of the cheaper Mr. Crappie models, and Cast King make a zero ball bearing reel that's very similar to this. I don't have no experience using them, but to compare them to it, but they're very similar with zero gear ratio, like zero gears, ball bearings, but for a zero ball bearingless reel, this reel does perform pretty good. I mean, but you have to clean this 202 more often than you do the 33. But the only thing bad about it too, these spin cast reels, is when you reel the line in, you get a lot of junk that goes inside the reel, which drips into the gear system, which you have to clean these enclosed reels more often than you would maybe a spinning reel or a bait caster. So, that's why a lot of these big name YouTube fishermen, they'll do a review on them, but they don't know really much about them, But from my experience with these reels, they're very reliable, sturdy, good quality reels. If you maintenance them, if you maintenance these reels, they will last you forever. I've had this one since 2003, 4 or 5, I can't remember when I bought this one, and it still works. I can still use it. The gears work good. It's all about maintenance. As long as you maintenance these reels, they will last you for a long time. But the clear winner of these two reels, and I'll probably get a lot of hate for it, is the 33. The 33 is the most outstanding reel I've ever used in a spin casting reel, and I've used a lot of them. I've used the R.B. Garcia, the Flugers, the Shakespeare, Synergies. I've used the Ugly Cast, Spin Cast. I've used a lot of different ones. The Rhinos are good too. I mean, if I was to recommend you 233 reels, would be the Rhinos and the Authentic 33 or the Platinums, hands down over any other reel company. I do own a more expensive Omega. That is a fantastic. Like that reel is off the charts. How good the Omega works, but it's a lot heavier and it's a lot heavier dutier than these cheaper reels. You know, for a first-time fisherman, I highly recommend you to grab any of these reels. Or if you're just a novice fisherman that wants to just use these reels for catching fish on the bank with bait or small jigs, topwater lures, and plastic baits for bass fishing and crappie fishing and stuff like that, these are fantastic reels. Don't look them over, buy them. They are really good reels for what they are. And they've been made since the 40s. They were the original, often imitated, but these are the original. These were the first company. This was the first company that made spin casts. So you know they put a little bit of quality and pride in every reel they make. They still make parts for this version of the 33. So if you have this 33 reel and you want to keep it in good working order, they still make parts for this. There's some videos out there of people super tuning these 33s with more ball bearings. So you could literally go on a Zebco part company that makes the ball bearings for these reels and super tune these reels to be like 4 ball bearing reels. And these ones you really can't do that with, but these are good beginner type of reel. I love the 202. I use this one, and I use the older one I got from the 1980s, and they still work. I catch trout with them and all kinds of fish. I've got 4 or 5 pound trout with them, no problem. But these are more prone to get dirtier than these. You don't have to clean these as often as you do the 202s because it just has the, you know, regular gear system with no ball bearing. But they're both good, but the clear winner out of these 2 reels will always be, forever, the 33. The 33 Authentic is the best spin cast reel ever invented on the market. They've been made for years and decades, and they're tried and true. There's a reason why your grandpa had one of these reels in his collection, or he used them on the regular. It's because there's 0 to no line twist in them at all. You get no backlashes. I can cast a spin cast all day long with 0 issue compared to a spinning reel or a bait caster. And I do own spinning reels and bait casters, by the way. Well, folks, I hope you like this little small video on the 202 and the 33 reels. The 33 is a far better, more superior reel than the Slingshot is. The Slingshot, I'm not taking anything away from it. I think the Slingshot 202 is better than a lot of the cheaper versions that are copying the 202 out on the market. I think it's a lot better system. It has 1 pickup pending compared to 2, but it is what it is. It reels good, it casts good, it works good. It'll catch you just about anything. But the Zebco 33 is the step up from this reel, and it works a lot better. There's a few things I like about this reel over this reel. This one has more line capacity. This one has more gear ratio, more speed, less line capacity, and they cast about the same. So, but the 33 wins because it has a better handle, got a better hand crank than the 202. It's a lot smoother with less noise compared to the 202. You hear that grinding in the gears, you know, but it works. But other than that, I mean, both of them have their faults, you know, their ups and their downs. You know, but overall, the better reel is the 33. As long as you don't put don't put too much line on these reels should serve you really well when you're fishing. These are probably 2 of the best bait fishing reels on the market. Okay, folks, I hope y'all like this video on comparison between the 202 Slingshot and the Zebco Authentic 33. If y'all like this video, please hit the like, share, and subscribe. And y'all know what you can do. You put God first. He puts you first in His life every time. It's been your old pal Hondo from Hillbilly Tax.
Tell me pretty lies, look me in the face. Tell me that you love me.